Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Corki updated complete guide. So for Lucian, we haven't made a complete guide for him yet until 2.4, but for a lot of these other characters that we'll be covering, or a lot of champions I should say, that we already have a complete guide. For example, Corki, we already have a complete guide for him. We might be covering other champions like, let's say, Kaisa, who also has an updated build. So with 2.4's new items, especially in the AD carry role, a lot of champions have a new updated build. So for the updated complete guides like this one, I'm actually just going to link the original one in the description and in the cards above as well. And for that, you can see the skills, abilities, and leveling order because that hasn't actually changed. So with that, we can actually jump straight into the build in order to save some time. So we're going to jump into the Corki build over here. So this is the new crit Corki build. So first up, there is a problem. There is a minor problem with the build, which is that you won't have a lot of mana throughout the game. Even after you build the Essence Reaver as your first item and you have the Mana Siphon passive, you still won't really have too much mana. So especially in the early game, like in the laning phase, you will realize that majority of the time you are always out of mana. But that is honestly not too big of an issue, because with this build, Corki becomes an auto attacker, not a spellcaster. Now of course, you always want to use your spells and for the extra damage from the Essence Flare of the Essence Reaver, and also just because all your spells do damage and they are very useful. But your main source of damage now is no longer your spells, but it's your basic attacks. So your basic attacks are going to be critting for huge numbers. You can do like maybe about 800 damage, mixed damage combined together per auto attack or so, and yeah. So Corki is a bit unique in that he's traditionally a mid laner, but he can of course be played in the ADC role. Now unlike Lucian, who I feel like is the best in the mid lane role, I think that Corki mid and Corki ADC are actually equally as good. Corki ADC is because Corki wants to scale up into the late game, and basically the early game is just to farm and get gold for your items. And in the support role, you can actually have a support to facilitate that, someone to either peel for you, protect you, shield and heal you, or something like that. So that is actually honestly pretty useful. But anyways, let's get onto the build. So the build is honestly like pretty much the same as like the Lucian build. It's Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge, and then Solari Charge Blade. Now the difference here is that we go for Void Staff and then Guardian Angel as our last two items. We'll get into that later. So obviously, Essence Reaver, all the stats that we want, also gives more damage to our abilities, and Corki has like a very fast cooldown ultimate and which he can spam, so that's only going to make it even better. Infinity Edge for the more AD, as well as the increased crit damage. Now, of course, you can go for a Solari Charge Blade first, much like Lucian, but I always like to go for more AD first, and then I'll go for the more attack speed later on. So, of course, with all these, we of course have the ability haste inbuilt as well for even faster ability casts. So, of course, Solari Charge Blade really useful for ability casters for that increased crit rate and the increased true damage, as well as the damage, more damage to enemies who are low. So this is the 3-item combo for Corki, and then after that we get the Void Staff. So of course, as we all know, Corki does about 80% magic damage and only about 20% physical damage. So this is going to be helping you deal a lot. So it's not Moral Reminder or Seralda's Grudge is not as useful because the majority of your damage is magic damage. So having magic penetration is way more useful than having physical penetration, or armor penetration. So in my previous Corki build, I didn't actually build any penetration at all. If you look at the previous complete guide or the previous commentary guide, I didn't actually build any penetration at all. But this time, with this 3-item power spike, we do actually have the space to build the Void Staff. Whereas previously, we needed to build the items like we had to go Triforce into the Static Shift and into the Infinity Edge to have our power spike and all. So we didn't actually build that, but now we do. And then, of course, we're going to finish off with a Guardian Angel, just for more, the revive passive mainly, but also more AD and armor. So for the runes, of course, we go for Conqueror. Conqueror is pretty much the best option on Corki. No other real options for that. For the second rune, I like to go for Hunter Vampirism just because the only source of lifesteal yet again is from the Gluttonous Greaves. Now the thing about the new items in patch 2.4 is that majority of them don't actually give, actually all of them don't give any lifesteal. So previously you used to build the Rune King on almost everyone to and it did give lifesteal, but nowadays you build the new 2.4 items and you don't build Bork anymore. So mainly a lot of AD carries are going to be taking the Hunter Vampirism because they don't really have any other forms of lifesteal. But with Corki you can also consider Gathering Storm because he is a little bit more of a late game carry. He's not too strong in the early game. You can also go for Champion just because on Corki you honestly don't really die a lot, and by the time you do die like a bit, you will already have gotten the value from the Champion by getting some early game kills. Normally, its preference, as I always say for this rune, I always go for Hunter Titan, but you can also go for like Adaptive Carapace or even Second Wind. Now here I take Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth will alleviate your mana problems slightly because you can't actually eat the fruit to restore your mana, and it also of course gives health and gold. That's why I take Sweet Tooth over Mana Flow Ban, and that is pretty much the best option. You don't really need even more ability haste because you already get enough from the build. So with that out of the way, we can actually quickly move on to the gameplay already. Alright, so moving on to the gameplay. Now as usual, if you guys like what you're seeing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But before we get into the real part of the gameplay, we're going to have to discuss a couple of things. First up is the fact that I was actually last pick, and I actually picked Corki into this team comp, which is a horrible choice. I would just like to point out first, because we already have a Teemo and a Katarina, 2 AP sources, and I picked Corki, who is also 80% AP, so we really don't have any 80 damage if not for the Graves. So, I of course have 20% AD damage, but our only AD source is Graves, so a more balanced team would be for me to pick a more traditional AD carry. So normally you want to draft Corki in when you have like an AD top or like a tank top and like an AD mid. It's good to have a Corki bot just so your team has some AP. That's the best time to draft Corki. If not, a team comp like this, Corki isn't really the best in, but you know, we make it work anyway. Secondly, is Corki actually works best with a tank engage support, not like an enchanter support like Nami. So he's a lot better paired with like a Leona, like with an Alistar, because you need someone to go in and engage and tank for you while you stay back, shoot your rockets, shoot your basic attacks, shoot your phosphorus bombs, and all that. So he works a lot better with an engage support, but of course you still can work with this. And also back to the point about drafting. Also, I drafted Corki into a Mundo, which honestly I wasn't paying attention at the last part of the draft, and I just picked Corki because I wanted to play him. But I honestly wasn't paying too much attention, and that really wasn't good. Here, we get a nice catch onto the Tristana. Tristana is exhausted. She does try to go into Nami, and they do eventually pick up the kill on the Nami, but I trade it for the Tristana, which overall is a positive trade because of course AD carry for support will always be a good trade more or less. Although in this case the support is the Senna, so Senna also does well with the gold, even though it's generally better for her to get stacks. But you know, if Tristana isn't around and she has to farm the gold, she probably does better with the gold than the majority of other supports, because she can actually build damaging items to carry in the late game. But here we have the wave in a nice position, so we don't want to just blindly shove the wave. Here, Graves actually steps in way too early because with the wave in this position, the Tristana and the Nami would have to come up in order to CS. So the Graves would have a really easy gank, but he comes in way too early. He gets himself spotted, so I just shove out the wave so I can get a nice quality recall, get myself health and mana, and also pick up a couple of items to build towards my Essence Reaver. So if the Graves waited a while, we might have gotten like another kill there, but unfortunately for us, the Graves was a little bit too impatient, gone in way too early, so we nothing too much comes of it. So here, back into lane, and the wave state is pretty nice again because we reset it to a really nice state. Another catch into Tristana, and Tristana more or less actually saves me there because as you can see, one of the bad parts about Corki, which is his horrible range. If I was any other AD carry, would definitely be able to just auto attack Tristana, but I had to actually chase her quite far down and hit her with my phosphorus bomb to secure the kill. But yeah, so we got 2 nice kills at the start. Both of the times we had to trade Nami for the kill, unfortunately, but it is hard to avoid. Yeah, as I was saying, Tristana actually saves me there. So here allows us to pick up the Essence Reaver, because the Senna did actually hit the root onto, I believe it was either the Nami or the minion, and I was in the circle to get rooted, but Tristana actually buster shot me out of the circle. So that was kind of like a miscommunication or a misplay on the enemy bot lane side, because it did actually end up actually saving me. So yeah, as you can see at the moment, I'm critting for 175 magic damage and 44 physical damage, so I am doing majority magic damage. So here Tristana jumps in. Graves this time actually bites his time and doesn't show up. Here I go onto the Tristana, and then we move on to the other characters. Graves flashes for the Senna, and Nami again dies, unfortunately. But we pick up a 3-for-1 kill in the top lane. So overall, it's of course still worth. So we're gonna move on to the dragon. Here I actually ward into the bush and I pop the plant. Now 2 very important steps. Number 1, to make sure the enemies can't just pop the plant over for a steal, and number 2, to actually see the enemies if they're coming over. Of course, no one is really showing up here, but it's still really good practice in order to do that. Graves, of course, does actually smite a little bit too early, leaving the dragon with 8 health. Thankfully, Senna didn't really make it there in time. If not, it could be a bit problematic. So of course, package spawns when Dragon and Rift Herald spawns. So I didn't actually go back for the package. So I have actually the package, and of course, ideally we want to contest the Rift Herald because I have the package, and the Rift Herald is the only objective left up. So it's a really nice. But Graves is having none of it. He is at the wrong side of the map. So instead, I'm gonna try to get a nice package here, shoving the Tristana. Tristana unfortunately jumps away as I jump towards her. So unfortunately, not working out too well. Here I actually get off a lot of poke on the Senna. Even though we can't see her health at the moment, she's actually really low, as you guys can see. So in her shot, nobody could see her health, but she was actually really low. Here, we catch out the Tristana again, but unfortunately it's on the tower. Tristana buster shots me out of the range of the, or rather out of the path of the Senna W yet again. So Tristana really mistiming her buster shots a lot there. But yeah, so here I'm just gonna pick up the fruit and stick around. Honestly, my only low resource is mana. I'm at about half mana, but with the mana siphon from the Essence Reaver as well as the honey fruit pickup, I should be able to stay in lane for a while more. Here, a lot of action happening at mid lane, so I'm just gonna shove out the wave to either rotate or get a reset. Of course, only Tristana is left under the tower. Nami has probably backed. So here I'm just using my poke to try to poke out the Tristana. Of course, I have to aim my ultimate, and I hit like about half of my ultimates. Like so. So Tristana getting poked out. She's gonna have to recall in order to restore her resources, especially her health. Senna is back and gets caught by the Nami bubble. Nami really on form today, and we can easily shove out the wave and probably get a reset. Yep, so we're gonna get a reset, get some items. Honestly, at this point in time, our team is doing relatively well. Teemo is 3-2. He has the Haunting Guys and the Nash's Tooth, which is the ideal for Teemo. Graves is has three kills and an assist, although he has a questionable build, going for a Phantom Dancer as his first item. And of course, we're doing well. Katarina is feeding though. Katarina will be feeding this entire match. Spoiler alert, she is really not the best player, I should say. So here we catch out Senna this time, not Tristana. So here, Tristana really nowhere to go. She's gonna have to chase, she tries to chase the Nami to trade the kill, but she falls as well. So here this time we pick up a double kill onto the enemy bot lane, and both of us survive this time. So we're gonna just shove out the wave, probably get some damage onto the tower. And yeah, so on the side of the enemy team though, the Kha'Zix is really fed. Aurelion Sol has yet to die, so those are the two characters we really have to look out for. The Kha'Zix and Aurelion Sol are going to be big problems in the late game. And of course the Mundo is just really tanky against our team comp in general. So here is the Kha'Zix. And not too much we can do here. I managed to get the kill onto the Kha'Zix here, but Aurelion Sol does manage to trade the kill onto me, and they actually pick up a double kill, so it's a 2-for-1. So here we see our amazing Katarina running straight into the stun and eating basically everything the enemy has to offer. Graves, of course, can do nothing about it, so he's just going to hightail it away, which is, of course, the right decision. But yeah, this Katarina honestly is... I don't know if she even knows how to play Katarina. She's 0-4-0 at the moment. And just judging by her skills and how she just randomly engages without at improper times and all, I really don't think that she is a Katarina main or any kind of Katarina player. Might even be like first timing the champion or in ranked or whatnot. But here, Kha'Zix is on the dragon. We're gonna try to contest. Kha'Zix, of course, can't fight 3 people, so he's gonna jump out. Senna misses the W, and here we're gonna find a really nice engage. Of course, with the package splitting up the team, we isolate the Tristana and quickly take her down. Then we're gonna chase for the rest of the kills. I get a double kill onto the Kha'Zix, and at this point in time, my internet starts lagging, so I stand still on the spot for quite a long time. But my team manages to finish up the rest of the fight without me. So. At least we do get that. Mundo is on the chase, kills the Katarina, which honestly is the least valuable member, and we trade Katarina's life for the Mundo. Mundo pops his ultimate, but he can't be tanking 3 people at once, so Mundo goes down as well. So, yeah, so at this point in time, of course, we are 7-1-5. We did get the death just now by the Aurelian Soul, and we did give over the shutdown to the Aurelian Soul, and Aurelian Soul now has the Liandry's and the Infinity Orb as well, so he's gonna be quite big of an issue, as will the Kha'Zix. Now, thankfully for me, Kha'Zix has actually opted for a Black Cleaver start instead of going for Youmuu's or Duskblade, because if he had done that, I will be in way more trouble because he's gonna be doing a lot of damage to me. Corki doesn't actually go for any physical defense until the last item, which is the Guardian Angel, so he would be just destroying me, but thankfully he actually goes for the Black Cleaver, which is overall a way better option to play into for me. So here, Senna, the Rift Herald gives Senna a really false sense of security, so she thinks for some reason that she can step up against us, and we actually managed to take down the Rift Herald just before it gets up its charge, so Rift Herald essentially was useless for the enemy team there. Now, it really sucks when you summon the Rift Herald and it doesn't get even a charge off onto the tower. So here you can see I have so much damage that I can out-damage Mundo's healing and simply just kill him. So this will be a trend throughout the game. If I can get onto the Mundo and continuously damage him, I will out-damage his healing. That is how much damage Corki does at the moment. So that will be what you guys will see. But the moment I stop attacking Mundo, his healing is going to go through the roof. You guys will see an example of this later, and I will point it out. So here, we're just trying to siege the mid lane tower a bit. We managed to pick up 1 tower plate. Aurelion trying to get off a stun. Thankfully, nobody actually gets hit by it. But, Corki, one of the downsides of Corki is his short range. So in team fights, he has to stay in the backline. He can't be the one engaging. He has to just stay in the backline and just, just shoot his ultimate, try the basic attack and all. I actually was a bit mispositioned there because I was in the front line. But thankfully, no one actually caught me out. Here, I'm still in the front line, but only Mundo is there. Nami gets a 3-man stun, but Mundo is just onto me, and I can really do nothing about that. So I can't really follow up from the Nami stun, unfortunately. So I just have to get Mundo off my case. Kha'Zix is jumping in, and I actually do manage to trade the kill onto the Kha'Zix before I die. Now, obviously, with my Valkyrie down, I have no escape. Honestly, I could have tried to flash out, but I don't rate my chances of survival too highly because there is a Mundo who can slow me with the cleaver, so instead of trying to run and survive, I opted to just trade the kill onto the Kha'Zix because I did believe that I have enough damage to kill the Kha'Zix before I die, which was indeed the case. So I trade my life for the Kha'Zix life. Not the best trade in the world, but at the same time not the worst, because if I were already to die, at least I can get a kill onto the Kha'Zix to trade, get at least something back. So here, of course, we get the package again, and Graves is already clearing up the top lane where we actually just lost the turret, so no point going there. We're actually going to go to the mid lane, see if we can find any fights. Fights in general are really good when you have the package, of course, because you do have a major advantage with your area control and your CC. Now here, Nami oversteps just a little bit and gets bursted by the Aurelion Soul, who is now like 5-0-6, I believe. So here, a package to escape, no choice there. But I do actually lay out the package on the ground, which actually does damage to the Mundo who happens to step over it. So Um, at this point in time, my team not doing too well. Katarina and Nami died, so nothing too much we can do here. Might as well just recall, complete our Solari Charge Blade. We have, of course, picked up the Zanyas for the next time, like, the Kha'Zix jumps onto me, or, you know, the next time that we need it. So here, this is Corki's, like, strongest point. We have already all 3 items. Power Spike, of course, in this particular match with Mundo around with the Void Staff, will spike even more to kill the Mundo a lot more easily. So now something that I must point out is that in this match, if you need Grievous Wounds, because there are no Grievous Wounds in this build, you can actually go for the Oblivion Orb. The Oblivion Orb does give Grievous Wounds now. I should have probably picked it up earlier, but at this point, I already outdamaged the Mundo, and after picking up the Void Staff, it's even more valuable, so I'm not really gonna go for the Oblivion Orb anymore at this point, but I should have obviously picked it up earlier. So here, I'm just more or less untouched, just trying to fire off. Now I'm getting touched, so I'm gonna have to Valkyrie out of the way, Flash out of the way. I don't want to be anywhere near that. We managed to do a lot of damage onto the Senna, and Graves finishes off the kill onto them. Here, I get the kill onto the Mundo, and huge damage into the Kha'Zix. Graves finishes off the Kha'Zix. Now, honestly, me and Graves are carrying this team. Teemo honestly also has quite a big part to play as well. Not gonna lie, Teemo actually does do quite well as well. But if you guys see the scoreboard, Teemo 3-5-1. But despite his score, he is still being useful. Graves and me are really fat. Graves has yet to die, I like to point out, but I'm 11-2-8, so not only do I have a lot of kills, but I also have a lot of assists, a lot of kill participation, so we are definitely putting in a lot of work in this match. So Nami, of course, with a lot of deaths, but she, of course, is doing her best to support, setting up a lot of our kills with all the bubbles and, of course, the tile waves. So as you guys saw just now, I did actually pick up the Oblivion Orb, but I sold it after, undid it after because I realized I didn't really need it. Picking up Void Staff is not more available, so I'm just gonna pick up this red buff, and I should have enough for the Void Staff. So I'm just gonna recall, get the Void Staff. In this case, it's worth it to just get another recall for the Void Staff, just because of how much damage it does to the Mundo. And the team isn't really fighting at the moment. I can also pick up my package. Of course, the team is fighting now. The chase is on and going towards the mid lane. So I'm gonna come over with my package and see what I can do about it. So here again, trying to get an angle to split up the enemy team. Boom. Not really spinning on the enemy team here, but Tristana finally with a good buster shot to disengage. So actually stops me dead in my tracks. Can't really do too much over there. So I'm just going to clear out the mid lane, try to save the mid lane tower. Aurelion Sol zones me away, and they do actually pick up the mid lane tower. Nothing too much I can do there. The Aurelion Sol's really fat. 708, still yet to die. Senna is a ticking time bomb, scaling up, of course. So she's going to be... despite whether she's fat or not, she's going to be carrying the team sooner or later, because Senna is just a late game carry. Mundo, of course, playing his part, just tanking up all our magic damage. Kha'Zix was fed the entire game, just assassinating all of us. At this point, Tristana is their weakest member. She's only 1-7, but she already has 3 items, and she's already level 13, so she's not to be underestimated, because of course Tristana at late levels, at like level... In fact, even now, she outranges me by a lot, and she has 3 crit items already. So she is going to be doing a lot of damage at a very high range. But fortunately, so do I. I also do a lot of damage, but not at as high a range. So me versus Tristana, if I'm in range, I definitely win it. But if Tristana manages to kite me out, or if she outranges me, I'm gonna lose it for sure. So here, my whole team is just posturing around the mid and the top lane area. We're trying to get off like a siege or something. So here, as you can see, I'm destroying the Mundo. The Mundo goes out of my range. He takes the plant. Look at his health. His health is back to nearly full the moment I stop attacking him. So now here, the team is fine. I need to get the health. I see Kha'Zix coming after me. I know he's coming after me. He does everything. Boom, I Zanya's the Kha'Zix Q. I flash. I kite him, and the minions get the kill. So here, honestly, I'm pretty proud that the micro there was pretty on point. I Zanya's the Kha'Zix Q, I flashed out of his next Q, and I managed to kite him out and actually trade the kill from like nearly 1 HP, and he was like more than 3/4 health. So I managed to actually trade 1-for-1 with the Kha'Zix, of course with the help of the minions at the last part. But regardless, we still managed to trade 1-for-1, which is honestly really good given the situation. I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, It's either I run towards the enemy team or run towards the Kazakhs. Arguably, I took the worst option, but you know, it's still semi-worked out. Now, only Graves is left alive, unfortunately, and the Elder Infernal is up, and so is the Baron. So the enemy team, of course, has Senna, Tristana, and Mundo, so they do have the capability to, of course, take one of those objectives, and the Kazakhs has also just come up. So the Kazakhs is going to be running straight there. Now here, Graves, of course, trying to contest the Dragon. Graves still yet to die, I would like to point out. So here, Mundo just distracting us. Arenzo with a huge stun. I get stunned, there's nothing I can do. I don't even manage to get off my entire package before I die. If Corki gets caught out, there's not too much he can do. Graves about to suffer his first death of the game, and he does, but he does trade the Tristana for it in the meantime. Now thankfully for us, enemies honestly could have ended the game here if the entire team died, but thankfully for us, Teemo actually died before this entire fight happened, and because of that, he actually revived when this entire fight is over. So Teemo is actually gonna be saving our team at this point in time, which is why I say Teemo also played his part. So here, he actually manages to take out the Aurelion Soul, and you know, take out the Aurelion Soul, clear out the minion waves with his ultimate, and also Teemo actually comes up huge for our team in this particular instance. Clears out the wave, preventing the enemy from ending, and also takes out the Aurelion Soul. Now, here the enemy team screws up big time. Kha'Zix actually dies to the Baron. He gets executed by the Baron. Now, especially when there's no threat from the enemy team, if you are doing the Baron and you realize you're gonna die, just step away from the Baron. It doesn't matter if the Baron is has only 1000 HP left, because you're gonna die to it anyway. You're not gonna get it even if you get executed. So really poor choice on the part of the Kha'Zix. And this late into the game, 20 minutes into the game, his death timer is gonna be like 30 something to 40 something seconds. Allows us to pick up the Baron really easily because the enemy team doesn't have a jungler. So there, honestly, the Kha'Zix screwed up big time. So here my team picks up the Baron, so we have a lot of pressure to push into the enemy team. I have, of course, do have full build now. I have my Void Staff, I have my Guardian Angel, I have my Zhonya's Hourglass up. So I have 3 safety tools, my Dash, my Zhonya's, and my Guardian Angel. So I should be really safe here. Mundo running straight at our face. He doesn't realize that Corki can destroy him. Flashes away, goes out of my range. Graves finishes off the kill. Entire team runs towards me, but I'm untouched in the backline. This means that I can just destroy them, flash forward for and hit my ultimate onto the Aurelion Soul for the quick easy pickup. We get a clean ace, and that will be the game. So as you guys can see in that last fight in particular, if Corki is untouched in the backline, he will rip through the enemy team with this build. He does so much damage with his auto attacks and his abilities as well. So with that, that is the end of the video. And of course, I'll leave you guys with the stats. So this time I'm actually going to highlight some of the stats. As you guys can see, boom, we get 15 for 13, most damage, most kills, most gold. Just look at how much damage we do. And with that, guys, thanks for watching the video, and goodbye.